when the town you grow up in is less than a mile square, you have a tendency to do a lot of those first things in life nearby. This is the first house I remember living in. Doesn't look like anybody's lived in it in a while, but it's a special house. My mom would buy these 6-ounce Cokes in the bottle, and she'd put them on the fridge. And if you did especially good on your report card, or you did your chores, or she just felt like you deserved a little something extra, we got one of those ice cold 6-ounce Cokes. It's the best thing I've ever tasted in my life. So I guess first Coke I ever had was in this house. First Cub Scout meeting. I think I was a Weeblo. This is the Roby High School auditorium. I got inducted into the National Honor Society on this stage. I did the one-act play on this stage. I sang and danced for the first time on this stage, and I graduated on this stage. First basket I ever shot was in this gym. First time I felt pain was on this football field. And I don't mean in a game, I mean 2-a-day workouts. In the blazing summer of Texas for 2 weeks, twice a day, you'd come out on this field and practice. 107, 108, 110 degree temperature. And coach would say, keep your hat on, which meant keep your helmet on so that you wouldn't get heat stroke. It was hot, it was tiring, it was miserable. And I'll never forget it. This is where the old FFA, Future Farmers of America, livestock pens used to be. And this was where I owned my first livestock. A pig. First fist fight. I think I lost. First D&D game was in this motel. So this kid moved to Roby with a weird name, Vahid. And we were freshmen in high school. It turns out his dad and mom had bought this little motel with about, I don't know, maybe a dozen rooms. And I came over and we was hanging out one time and he asked me, "You ever played Dungeons and Dragons?" And I said, "I don't even know what that is." And he got out these books and he started to tell this wonderful tale of adventure and fighting and magic and sorcerers, and my imagination just exploded. For the next 4 years, every chance we got, those books came out and we went on adventures that you could never go on in Roby. First time I broke my arm behind the rodeo arena. First drag race. Quarter mile that way. I think I won. My first dream was to be in a rock and roll band. I wanted to be the next Eddie Van Halen. So me and my good friend Jeff Morton decided to take guitar lessons, and we played at Jeff's house because his parents were gone and we could play as loud as we wanted. The problem was Jeff's house was 3 blocks that way and my house was 3 blocks that way. And we couldn't go acoustic, so I literally had to lug my Gibson Les Paul knockoff guitar that weighed about 3,000 pounds, my old PV amp, by hand, 12 years old, from my house to Jeff's house. The first time I quit was on this basketball court. Junior year, I suited up for a varsity basketball game. I was mostly playing junior varsity, and coach, with 2 minutes left, signaled for me to go into the game. And I said no. I thought it was embarrassing that he just wanted to get me some playing time on the court. And we all knew it was the rejects, or the ones that weren't good enough to start, that got the last 2 minutes of the game when the game was out of hand. Couldn't be won, couldn't be lost, it was done. And I was 17 and stupid. Yeah, I regret it, but after the game, coach called me in his office and said, "Do we need to have a talk?" I said no, I quit. First time I remember crying, my mom told me in the car that my grandfather died. When I was 5 years old, my mom brought me and my cousin Bridget up here. And I'd never been to a swimming pool, and Bridget ran and jumped into the deep end, and I thought I was supposed to do the same thing. I went in and I didn't come up. Luckily there was a lifeguard on duty whose name I wish I could remember so I could give him thanks. But he came in after me and he pulled me out. And that's probably the first time I almost died. First skateboarding epic wipeout. Skinny board, fat wheels. Seriously, my first job, 6 a.m. to noon, was hoeing cotton for Jack Morton. Yeah, that's a real thing. First time I held a girl's hand was in these bleachers. Shannon Wilburn. Sorry, I said it.